What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about 007 First Light yet again. I want to talk about the reception that I've seen to this game, and I want to make this very clear, okay? This is not a direct attack to say, hey, you can't say anything negative about this game, you can't say anything negative about any game. I'm pretty open with, like, you say whatever you want. If there's people that don't judge a game until it releases. I'm cool with that. If you also want to judge a game before it releases, look, it's your money. It's your money. You're going to have to either buy a game or not buy a game. You have the right to make an assessment, on something. So just want to make that clear in the beginning. But with this game, there's something odd going on, okay? So, look, I talked about when the gameplay first came out, the state of play. There are weaknesses. I'm not going to say there's no weaknesses. It was a perfect presentation. No. There was, I think in my opinion, I said three things. One was the frame rate, specifically with the plane when you're tilting it. That was pretty bad. Like, the game cannot come out like that, okay? So, look, it's early. I imagine these things can be fixed, especially the frame rate thing. Number two is the voice acting. There were times where it was definitely, like, subpar. If you could consider them bad, actually, you probably could go that far. And number three, the car chase, while visually impressive, and there were moments, it didn't feel like, okay, well, they were going for, like, the Uncharted thing, but they didn't quite reach the Uncharted thing. So those were kind of my three, and I talked about it more in past videos. Those are my three things. So, again, the situation here is, I'm not saying you can't say anything negative about it. I think people want to see more of, like, other features in this game. But, and I've seen this even on Twitter. I've seen a lot of creators that will post, like, oh, this thing looked amazing. And then I've seen a lot of people quote tweet themselves and say, like, what the F is wrong with people, because they are seeing that there's people that are just, and I've clicked on these. I wanted to know. I said, you know what? I saw some of this stuff in my own YouTube comments, right? I saw people that were fair, and then I also saw people that I just feel like weren't, like, they were going in ready to say something. Does that make sense? I think there's people that don't really care, and they just kind of sit around, and they're just ready to throw things out. And I think, honestly, the worst of the worst from the people that have watched my stuff pale in comparison, to what I've seen, specifically on Twitter. Twitter is one of the worst places on planet Earth 90% of the time. So I clicked on a lot of these Twitter posts, right, that said, oh, I posted that I loved it, and then just like some sort of mob went after this game. And I've looked at a lot of the comments, and I'm disgusted. I truly am. I am shocked the amount of people that hate it. And also not just hate it, but hate it for the dumbest reasons I've ever seen in my life. So, look, one of them was, I think, like 3 minutes, and it was the plane, like leading into the plane. So it was the gunfire stuff. And I saw so many people negatively say, okay, well, where's like the Hitman side of things to this Uncharted-like game? Uncharted's going to come back, by the way, and I have a bone to pick with that. So, okay, number one, again, I feel like these are people that have very low intelligence / they don't care, okay? And I really think it's that last part. They don't care. Because if you watch the entire state of play, you will have known that the beginning was more Hitman, but kind of a setup, right? Not really showing you the fullest potential of what Hitman has done and what Bond will do. But if you watched after the plane stuff, literally after Bond jumps out of the plane, if you watch after that, you will see all of the ways that they're incorporating kind of Bond, almost like charisma, with the Hitman mechanics. So, again, I feel like those are just a lot of people that see, I guess, 3 minutes of gunfight, and they say, where's Bond? And it's like, well, this is part of Bond. Also, Bond can do this, and there's car chases, and like the plane thing literally works, I think, for Bond. But then also, yes, there are times where it needs to be slower, gadgets, more charisma, more personality, and that's the rest of the game. But we even saw that in the state of play, and yet I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how many people said, I saw a lot of people say, this looks like a 2010 game. I don't really know where people are getting that from. I think it looks beautiful. Again, is the frame rate an issue? Yeah. But when those things are like exploding and like, you could argue like a cliche of like there's too many explosive barrels around. Again, that's fine. But like, does it look bad? No. Does it look like a 2010 game? I think people need to reintroduce themselves to what a 2010 game looks like. And look, that's one of my favorite years in all of gaming. I have played dozens of, and I have a whole channel where I look back at games, and I've looked back at games in the 2009, 2010 era. I'm not saying they're bad, but if you're going to really convince me that you think that Bond looks like a game from 15 years ago, you're literally insane, and I have nothing to say to you beyond that because I've actually done it, whereas I think these people have not done it. And then you have the insults of it's Uncharted. And I don't know, I think some people are saying it to literally say that both of them are not that great, which is insane to me. And I also think people are saying it to say, well, if it's a game that meshes Hitman and Uncharted, it's not really all that good. I also don't get that one either. Look, do games really ever come up with all that creative new things anymore? I'm not saying that I need games that literally just steal from 5 or 6 different things, but as time goes on, okay, the amount of games that literally create something brand new, you tell me, and it's normally indies, by the way. It's normally smaller games that create something. I've oftentimes talked about like Giant Sparrow, my favorite indie team, who made like What Remains of Edith Finch and Unfinished Swan. Those are games that do new things, okay? Whereas a game like, yeah, is 007 really going to do anything all that new? Probably not. But at the same time, does that mean it's the worst game of all time? You tell me what game is doing something completely. GTA 6, I don't know if you know this, is probably going to act pretty close to GTA 5 and Red Dead 2 while also adding stuff. And that's kind of what Bond is like Hitman, Bond is like Uncharted, and then you combine them and then maybe a few new things because gadgets and stuff like that, right? So, like, tell me where the issue. Again, like, I don't know. I don't want to make this video, again, just something like you can't have anything negative to say, but I've just seen, it feels coordinated. I think I said that in a live stream. It feels like it's people that were ready where when people say anything positive about it, you have these people swoop in and give you like 5 things wrong with it, but 4 of them are like nothing. They're things that don't really, and they're all saying the same thing, so it's like kind of like a hive mind, like they don't have an original, which is funny because they say that 007's not original, and yet their thoughts on it are not original. They're not really unique in any way. So I don't really know what's going on. I guess that's kind of what I wanted to do this video for. See if you guys noticed it. Look, I'm sure some of these people will watch this video and leave bad comments to me as well, but I just don't get it. I'm not saying it has to be or it's going to be the greatest game of all time. I did say I think it could be a Game of the Year contender. That doesn't mean it's going to be the greatest game of next year, and it also doesn't mean it's going to be the greatest game, like, period, that we've ever gotten. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to, I'm not also here to just say, oh, suddenly I love every single company on planet Earth, and I'm being paid off, and so every game just has to be the greatest game ever. No, I see potential. I see something I really like. I think it's going to be really good, but I mean, and you can also call it out for things, but just, I don't know, the things that I have seen talking about how it kind of looks or feels old, too much gunfighting. I really think there's going to be a good blend. In fact, when all's said and done, I imagine it's going to be more of like the Hitman stuff versus the over-the-top things. Like, I don't know what people are coming at it from. Like, I do. I feel like people are coming at it from just a very, like, again, they want to hate it. They want to say something bad, not actually look at it. And again, specifically the people about the gunfight and like where's the more, I don't want to say detective, but where's the more like slower, like that kind of stuff. Those are people that they literally just didn't watch it. Like, what can you even say to people that have an issue with something, and then that something actually does show up in the state of play? They're just looking at a 2-minute clip and saying it looks like garbage. Well, that is what the internet, I think, largely has done to people, specifically Twitter. So I don't want to get too derailed here. I just wanted to throw that out at you. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and hope to see you all on the next one.